So again, I have Jay Cutler co-owning that fifth spot. I think that with new coach or a couple of years now with a coach who seems to be doing wonders for him. I think Jay Cutler with Alshon Jeffries, with Brandon Marshall, with Martellus Bennett, Forte out of the background. Right. I think out of the backfield. I think that he has a real good chance of getting in the top five.
Yeah, and I have him actually as my sleeper pick only because he ranked 20th last year with the same guys you just named. He was also one of the worst. The team itself only threw 10 vertical attempts per game. Now, when you think of going downfield, when you have Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall, and you're throwing 10 passes downfield per game, 2.5 a quarter, I just think, are you not using the weapons? I don't understand. That's why I took him as a sleeper, because I agree with you. I think they're going to throw more downfield, and I think his numbers will be better.
I think so, too, and I think a lot of what your concerns have to do with how well Forte ran the ball. I think that he did well enough that they kept the time management situation in check, and they got good coaches, and they understand that you can run the ball a little bit more. But I still think that he has enough weapons, and they have enough confidence now in Alshon Jeffries to realize that he is a solid number 2.
Oh, absolutely. And understand, too, whenever we talk about sleepers, we gave our top 5, and our sleeper isn't somebody that's going to come out of nowhere. I'm just saying somebody that could crack the top 5. So we could pick an 8th guy or a 9th guy that would be a sleeper to crack the top 5. And Jay Cutler, I'm a big fan of Jay Cutler's, and I think he's going to have a very good year this year if they just throw the ball downfield more. That's
all right, so we've covered our top 5. I actually went with a tie there for 5. What do you got for 6 through 10, House? Just kind of give me your names. I don't need to break them all down.
Yep, I've got Cam Newton, Tom Brady, Nick Foles, Tony Romo, and then my sleeper.
Hold on. Let me get the sleepers here.
And Stafford, of course.
Okay, so rounding out my top 10, I have RG3. I have Matt Ryan. I think with a healthy tandem of wide receivers back, he busts his top 10. Phillip Rivers, I think Keenan Allen really is the real deal. I think that I think they're going to be behind a lot. Andy Dalton, his numbers last year were fantastic. New coaching staff, that's why I bumped him down a little
Andy
bit.
Dalton, huh?
And I think that takes me to 10, right? 1, 2,
Andy
3,
Dalton in the top 10.
I love Andy Dalton in the top 10. I really do.
So you signed a big contract, you're going to be good now, huh? You're going to step it up? You thought he had a good year last year, too?
AJ Green, they have all the weapons they need. Yeah. Marvin Jones. Go ahead and go with. Let's go. We're going to go sleeper.
Right. I had Cutler as my sleeper, like I said.
Okay.
What's yours?
My sleeper is Joe Flacco.
Wow, Joe Flacco.
Not on a lot of people's radars, but I tell you what, he has a lot of weapons that people are kind of sleeping on. Steve Smith Jr. or Steve Smith Sr.
That's right, Senior. Yeah. All Flacco does is win football games.
You're right.
I mean, really, it's all he does.
Anybody that gets to be picked to be Johnny Unitas in a movie.
Yeah, that's right. It's got to be good.
That's my guy.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good pick.
So that's my first one. I tell you what, one thing I did want to discuss before I get to my deep sleeper.
Okay.
I didn't put Romo in there.
No.
And I noticed that I didn't hear Romo on yours either.
Yes, I had Romo in my top 10. I have him only because last year he was 9th in points per game as far as quarterbacks go, and he was less than a point from being 5th. I think Dez Bryant's going to have a huge year. Wait till we get to the receiver breakdown. Okay. We'll talk about that. Terrence Williams, I think, is also going to be huge. Think sleeper. And I think that the fact that their defense is terrible is actually going to help the passing game a lot.
I 1,000% agree with you. I think the fact that they're going to be down by 2 touchdowns is going to be a big deal because he got a sling.
Yeah, I don't understand how anybody can.
The only reason I didn't put him in my top 10, I wanted to put this little note here, is I'm a little suspect about the injury comeback. This wasn't a
ankle or
injury.
Right.
It was a big deal.
Right.
So I'm a little worried about that. My sleeper, my deep sleeper, Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football. As much as I don't like Cleveland, and that.
Right. He's not even named as the starter so far, right?
I think he's going to be the starter. I think he's going to. Remember, we talked when we broke it down before the draft. The millions and millions of the Rocks fans.
That's right.
They will be texting and tweeting and making sure that the ownership really pushes the pressure on them.
Well, I hope you're right in that a little bit because his one of his receivers is Miles Austin.
Who?
Miles Austin, second best
Oh.
receiver in football.
Gotcha. I forgot about
That's
that guy.
With Josh Gordon having problems like he's having, and no real clear running game. I mean, as far as Ben Tate,
Ben Tate?
think sleeper. We'll talk about that in our next show. But I just can't root for A&M. And it's funny. It's funny that I say that I can't root for A&M because my deep sleeper is Oklahoma. I'm going to go Sam Bradford for my deep sleeper. And I know a lot of
Isn't
people
that
think
6-1
what?
half
Yeah,
dozen
I
the
know.
others?
I know it was awful. That was a horrible segue for a Texas fan. But I think before Sam Bradford, he averaged 16.3 points per game fantasy, which was more than Russell Wilson, Colin Kaepernick, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, RG3, and Matt Ryan. Before the injuries happened, he had 14 touchdowns, 4 picks. And I think they've solidified the offensive line more and they have a slew of receivers. Maybe no super, but they have a ton of talent at receiver. I just think Sam Bradford this year, if he can play the whole year and average 16.3, is not going to hurt anybody in the fantasy teams.
Well, and the only thing that might hurt them is that they do have a really good defense, and that defense, will put them in a good position. But they're also playing against a lot of good defenses, which kind of kept me away from him. They're playing against the Seattle Seahawks. They're playing against even Arizona. I think you got Arizona 49ers. That whole division is good defensively. Now, give me one that we want to stay away from, House.
All right, yeah. And this one might surprise you for me is I'm going to stay away from Russell Wilson.
Wait.
Yeah.
World champion?
Yeah, the actual
Russell-
Super Bowl champ. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep, and the only reason I'm staying away from that is that in the last 2 years, no team in the NFL has thrown less than the Seattle.
But wait, he
Seahawks.
has Percy Harvin.
Yep,
coming back.
and I agree, and I think that
He should be healthy for at
Right.
least 4 weeks.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, exactly. And I think that this could be one of those things that's just like a total backfire on my part. He might have a great year because of Percy Harvin being there, but a team that runs, of course, Marshawn Lynch has 300 plus
Beast
carries,
mode.
the beast mode. That's right. I'm just going to take him. Like a lot of people are looking at, well, once these top 4 or 5 quarterbacks go off the board, I'm getting Russell Wilson. I'm just saying that not a bust that he's going to have a horrible year, but a bust that he should not be in anybody's top 5, top 7, top 8. That's all.
Okay, so maybe free falling in the draft a little bit.
Right. Who do you like?
Who I don't like.
Yeah, who are you not taking?
Stay away from Nick Foles.
What? Wait, Nick Foles? Nick?
This is the same Nick Foles who had almost 3,000 yards last year, had 27 touchdowns, and by the way, in a disgusting 2 interceptions is all he had.
So this is the one you're staying away from.
I'm going to stay away from this guy like the plague. There's no way he repeats last year's performance. There's no way. Those numbers were ridiculously crazy off the charts. Can't see it happen in 2 years in a row. You look at, once you come out, you look at guys like when he started throwing to Riley Cooper, okay?
Right.
And Riley Cooper had a lot of deep balls.
Yep.
Defenses figured him out, brother, real
Yes.
fast.
Yeah.
So, the last 3 or 4 games they played, Riley Cooper looked like garbage. So they're going to figure out Nick Foles very fast. I don't think that he is pedigree. I think that he is secondary.
Don't you think that with
with
the
no
year?
Deshaun Jackson leaving is going to be a huge thing. I don't like Nick Foles. I don't think that works out. I think that he's a good guy. Whatever, I'll go have a Philly cheesesteak with him. But I would not pick him if you put a gun to my head.
See, and he was in my top 10, and for the sole reason that once he finally got started between weeks 9 and 17, 9 to 17, the number 1 fantasy quarterback in the NFL. Number 2, Peyton Manning. So from weeks 9 to 17, and I understand that you say he's
And
not.
a big
he's
part
not
of that
gonna
is
do
what
that.
he didn't throw an interception for like 8
Right,
weeks
right,
in a
and
row.
I
or something?
understand when you have those kind of numbers, but if he goes 30 touchdowns and 12 picks and has much worse percentage this year, is that still quality? And I understand that we're saying a bust as far as being in one of our top 5 or top 6 or top 7. And I get that, but I got to think Nick Foles with the addition of Darren Sproles, even losing Deshaun Jackson, I just think he's going to have a lot of dump offs when he's in trouble. That's going to help him.
But I guess come to think of it, you are going against Dallas's defense twice. You're going against the Giants' defense twice, so he might have a little room to breathe. But I still he's getting drafted. He has an average draft position in the early 3rd round. I can't see that happening. I'm not drafting him anywhere in the top 6 rounds. I'm not drafting him.
Wow. All right. Wow.
So you have heard our quarterbacks. Please make sure you listen. We are going to break down wide receivers, running backs. Well, you know what? Hell, we even break down kickers, House.
Yes, we will break down
Kickers.
kickers. That's
Every
right.
position, including kickers, including defenses, coming up. Make sure you check out the website, brand new, www.TheDerekStoneShow.com. TheDerekStoneShow.com.
You'll love it.
Talk to you later.